This is the Coffee Playdate podcast, and I am Dr. Olga Dengar, hospitalist, mom of 3 under 6, and a life coach for women physicians and professionals. On this podcast, I spotlight entrepreneurs and doctorpreneurs who are doing incredible things beyond traditional medicine. You'll hear the real-life stories behind their mindset shifts, the challenges they've overcome, and the practical advice that they share to support aspiring entrepreneurs on their own paths. Welcome to the Coffee Playdate podcast. I have a very special guest with me today, Dr. Leti Alto. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here with you, Olga.
I like to start off by asking if you drink coffee, and if so, how do you like your coffee?
I think most doctors, if not all, love coffee. I'm a big latte person with like regular milk.
Okay, we're going to start off by playing our rapid fire questions game. I'm going to ask you 4 questions, and you just choose between the first or the second answer. You don't have to give an explanation why you're choosing it. Just go with your gut instinct. Ready?
Okay.
The first one is, do you like to read 10 books or listen to 10 audiobooks?
I would read 10 books all day long because I like to be able to underline things. And my books have like a billion dog ears in them. And I just can't do that with audiobooks. And so even though I love hearing the author's voice, I much prefer reading books. Actually, I would also like to do both at the same time, right? Like you can listen to the audiobook and read the book. I learned that from Alex Hormozi, and I think it's actually a really good way to just even more deeply understand the book as you go through it.
You kind of hone into 2 different senses, the seeing and the hearing. So it makes the experience a lot better, for sure. How about this one? Do you like to host a retreat or record an episode on your podcast?
A host a retreat. I love to, a lot more work, right? But I love to be in person with people, and I love to see the conversations that happen between each of them, that don't involve me per se. I really like that kind of interactions and enjoy seeing people help each other through their experiences, and not just it being only just a one-on-one situation.
Hey, remember how I said we don't need to give the explanation? Just kidding.
Yes.
Although I love your explanations. They are amazing. How about this one? Teach your kids about real estate investing or how to create their own business?
Can I choose both? Business ownership. And I will not give you an explanation for why.
And the last one is, would you like to take a day off to rest or to catch up on unfinished tasks?
Rest.
So the next game is take a sip. And here you can elaborate on your answer if you want to. It's the same concept, but we're both going to answer. And if our answers match, then we take a sip from our coffee cup. Here we go.
Okay.
First one is hiking adventures or fishing trips with your family.
So those are like 2 of my favorite things. I'll go with fishing trips.
I'm going to say hiking adventures. I've actually never been fishing before, so I don't know if it's fun.
Oh, it's so good. We go every single year to Alaska deep sea fishing, and it's such a phenomenal experience to do every year. So that's why I chose it. But honestly, I love hiking too.
Amazing. The second one is baking experiments or meditation mornings.
Baking experiments, because afterwards you can eat it.
Yeah, you can't eat the meditation. I'm going to go with meditation mornings. I think it helps me really feel grounded and gets me through the day. That's good. How about this? A girls' night out or a couple's getaway with adventure sports?
Couples getaway all day long. My husband is my favorite person, and so I would never say no to more time with him. Doesn't matter what we're doing.
Yes, me too. I love couples getaways, and they're so much needed.
Yay! We get to drink.
And last one, Italy family vacations or Puerto Rico beach days?
Italy family vacations because of the food.
Yes, me too. All right. So I wanted to get our listeners to know a little bit more about yourself and how that relates to your businesses. Can you tell me more about yourself?
Yeah, so I'm a family medicine trained hospitalist. I live in Puerto Rico right now, which is why the Puerto Rico thing. Travel about half the time and have that freedom because I transitioned. Well, I added real estate investing on top of being a physician to build another source of income outside of medicine. And that really bought me financial freedom, and then have since started multiple businesses. So now I'm really focused on running my businesses, doing my real estate as kind of a side gig. And I stopped practicing clinically in late 2020 as well. And then I have 3 little kids at home, a 10-year-old, a 7-year-old, a 4-year-old, have a 22-year-old stepdaughter, and and an awesome husband.
You have a lot going on, lady. How do you do that?
I don't know. I take one step in front of the other. I get a lot of help. I have a nanny who homeschools my kids. I have a husband who does a lot of this with me. And that really helps because I have an awesome thought partner kind of built in, and he's an extremely hard worker. And then I have team members in my businesses who help a ton. And then I have help around the house too. Yeah, we have a lot of support. That's the only way.
It's amazing. You seem to have a lot of different systems in place and a lot of who's to delegate to. So, how did you kind of build that system? Is it something that you thought about from the get go or something that kind of naturally evolved over time?
Yeah, this is such a great question because I was thinking of that you were just talking. I was thinking I started by prioritizing what I really wanted. So that's what I do first. What do I really want each year? And so for me, personal development's a huge one, and being in masterminds and learnings. Every year I sign up for a couple masterminds, so I kind of set up the time. And spending time with my husband is a huge priority of mine. Every year I'll take a couple weekends and plan that for us, just us time. And then, of course, my kids, I want to make sure that we have some opportunities to do things together. So then I plan that. The businesses kind of need to work around that. I travel at least 1 week a month. We do as mostly as a family. So we're always on the move. And so I just kind of built everything around what I wanted, but it started with the vision of what we wanted. And Kenji and I were always aligned so far anyway. About what we want, and that allows you to kind of come up with the decisions that are aligned with that. So if like for me, out of the box living and being able to travel a lot of the time is important to me, and that's especially important to me because of all these masterminds. So then that says, what do you do with your kids' education? Well, it needs to be flexible, and it needs to allow your kids to travel with you. Otherwise, if you're traveling 1 week a month, you're not necessarily going to see your kids, for that period of time. So then that makes the decision about how you hire childcare differently. And then, so everything comes from the central premise of how do I want to lead my life and what do I value right now? And I have to say that that can also change over time. So ideally, you build yourself flexibility. So if something changes and you're like, hey, this doesn't work anymore, that you can then shift. But you always do from a space of what do I really want first.
So, you have your non negotiables, you schedule those into your calendar first, the activities related to those, and then everything else comes secondary.
hmm And even you know, I recently had a number of members of my team, one of my businesses leave, and I had a mastermind scheduled, and I was like, I'm doing the mastermind. Like, we're gonna figure it out. Like, I'm not gonna cancel all my stuff because of this. So it does, and really, there's some boundaries, right? That I'm going to maintain, and I'm going to figure out the business is going to work around those, and it's possible to do if you have the right individuals in your life to be able to support you to do that.
Yeah, well, you've definitely done it. You've grown multiple 6, 7, 8 figure businesses. Are there any mindset shifts that you used or that helped you on your entrepreneurial journey?
Yes, a lot. A lot of mindset work. A lot of masterminds that I sign up for are mindset because I think it's the most important thing. One tool that I still use all the time is just like, this is life happening for me. Because in business, all you do is solve problems. That's what you do as a CEO. There are never a lack of problems to solve or issues. Things change all the time. There's always, new laws, new employee issues, new, customer changes. Like there's so much going on in business. And so if I can get out of suffering and move into a space of saying, okay, this is life happening for me. Let me look for the ways that are good things are going to come out of this, or at the very least, shift out of suffering and go to solutions and move forward. That one helps me immensely because you could use that almost every week, honestly, with the challenges you face in business. Limiting beliefs is another one, just kind of understanding that I initially had a lot of limiting beliefs and still do have them pop up sometimes. And so just kind of recognizing when you're telling yourself a story that's not true about your own abilities or about the world, how the world works, or telling yourself what's realistic or what can't be done, recognizing that as a limiting belief and saying, okay, is that really true? And then switching it around and saying, hey, let me take the opposite of that. And why don't I choose to believe that instead? So that's really helpful. And again, an ongoing skill that you can use 5 years into your business, 10 years into your business, because limiting beliefs will crop up along the way. And then I think lastly is just kind of realizing everyone's doing the best they can. It's just whenever you have relationships with human beings, like things don't always go as you expect them to. People don't always behave the way that you think they will, right? There's a David Rico. Tony Robbins talks about the David Rico 5 givens, and one of them is people are not always loyal and kind. So realizing that people are doing the best they can, all of us are limited. All of us, are growing, and just kind of it allows you to let things go, I think, a little bit more and just move on and not again suffer as much when things don't go the way you expect.
Oh, there's so much to unpack there. You gave us so much insight. I love the different mindset tools that you've introduced and elaborated on. One thing I did want to ask you is as you were growing your business, semi retired MD, and transitioning out of medicine, what was kind of the pivoting point for you to really help grow that business and make it much more bigger and much more widespread? Was it building the community of empire builders, or were there any other things that really helped you kind of spread the word?
Yeah, we blogged and helped people for free for over a year before we even had a product available for sale. And so I think that was really helpful because people knew that we were there because we really wanted to help, and we were putting out a lot of content. And so we were able to create a lot of know, like, and trust because we were just there showing our expertise and contributing and giving value. But I will say the number one thing that helped us was actually relationships. It was relationships with other physician entrepreneurs who were willing to share their community with us. When we created our course, we had affiliates, and we gave them a pretty significant chunk of the value, of the purchase price of the course. And so it was a win-win situation that we set up, and allowed them to be motivated to want to get our course in front of their audiences and to extend their know, like, and trust to us, which was hugely valuable to us because when you're starting a business, finding the right people who want what you need, and then creating the relationship so that they realize, there's actual substance that you're actually going to deliver, that you really actually care about them. And so it's like when you think about advertising dollars, it's kind of like advertising dollars, but it's so much more because the know, like, and trust is associated with it.
That's a really helpful tip. Yeah, thank you for that. And as you were transitioning from semi-retired MD to building Beyara, which is one of your newer businesses, I wanted to know, was that transition pretty natural, or did kind of did it evolve from a different kind of mindset that you've had?
Um, Yeah, so it wasn't a transition, it was an add-on. Because that's what we doctors do, right? We always add on more. Um, I had wanted to start a business to help female entrepreneurs for like 3 years and had not found the right individual to do it with me. And so for me, I knew that I needed somebody, or I wanted somebody in that business who is going to be able to carry a lot of the weight of the business. So what I really needed was a head of business. And so I kind of kept my eyes open for competent people. When you run into a competent person, you usually realize it pretty quickly because most people are not that way. And so when you run into really phenomenal people, you have to start recruiting them right away. So I ran into somebody in a mastermind. They already had another job, but I said, "Hey, if you ever need a job, let me know." And that was in March. And then the mastermind ended up closing down in November, they told us. And so I immediately wrote to the person. And then the individual had lots and lots of offers, but they talked to me about what the vision was and said, "Yeah, I can do this." And so I got basically head of business for Beyara, which means that I can be there for the content. I can be there for the supporting the ladies and helping them think through their issues and doing the hot seats and all those pieces, but I'm not doing the things like going and doing anything really operationally. I just get to do content. I get to do the pieces that light me up. So you have to ask yourself what you want first, and then it will become clear which decision is the right decision. So that's what allowed me to start this. Otherwise, this business would not exist. I needed the right person with me.
Do you still feel that you have the right person and the right team in the Beyara business?
Yeah. Yeah. Because, we share the same values, which is, our students first, mission driven. Like we love on our community so much. Even in semi retired MD, sometimes we have referral partners And if they start complaining about the community, I know they're not the right fit. I have to get rid of them. If somebody is so passionate about the community and loves the members of the community as much as I do, that's the right individual. And that's really the guiding principle in all of my business is how do we make our students more successful? All the businesses, that's what we ask everybody. And that drives the decision making. And so when I have somebody who's as passionate about as me about who we serve and also competent, like the pieces fit.
So glad you found that perfect fit. Amazing. Now, has there been a particular challenge that you faced as you were growing your businesses, and how did you overcome that one particular challenge?
There are so many challenges. I just hope everyone hears that loud and clear. Like in real estate, like in any business you build, anytime you do something different, even think about internship, all the challenges you face. Life is full of challenges. That's part of how we grow. I think probably some of the biggest challenges for me along the way have been building team and having the right employees in the right seats, really understanding what an A player is who has the ability to produce results and certain outcomes. And then also is a culture fit. And, I've done a lot of bad hiring in my day and I've held on to people longer than I should have. And so, yeah, I think that if I had hiring mastered at the very beginning, like I'd be in a totally different situation than I am today. Like you just get there so much faster. And so uh, I would say that those are some of the biggest challenges, but also the most important challenges because if you don't have a great team, there's a limit in what you can do on your own. So ultimately, it all comes down to people.
We all just have 24 hours in a day, so we got to make sure that we're efficient and we're utilizing that time well.
And we're using leverage and we know how to delegate and that we have the right people in the right seats on the team.
So now that you have reached a certain level of financial and geographical freedom, do you think that you have successfully defined yourself as a semi-retired MD?
Good question. I have all the choices in the world now, and yet I choose to still work extremely hard because now I prioritize fulfillment and purpose. And so I think when I look back to 2015, I was like, oh, I just want to get financially free. I want to be there with my kids. And I want to be there with Kenji and I want to go hang out in Italy in a villa. Now my priorities are a little bit different. Of course, I want to be there with my kids and Kenji and to be able to have time where we're just chilling in a villa. That's great. But even more so, what drives me now is contributing and seeing my students kind of transform and believe in themselves and see what they've accomplished and be able to celebrate with them in their own experience of themselves and what they did and to be able to see the results that they get in their lives and how their lives change. That's really what fills me up. And again, I work far harder than I think I ever thought I would. I'm probably, if you asked me in 2015, I'd probably be like, yeah, I'll just travel for full time. I'm not going to do anything. I don't have to do anything. Why would I do any? But semi-retired always had the idea that you're going to contribute some way. But I definitely wouldn't have thought I was working as much as I'm working now. And yet, again, what's most important to me is seeing other people light up now and contributing. And so it's just shifted in a really dramatic way.
I do admire all of your work, and I think that you bring so much value to all of your clients and all of your students. So thank you for the work that you do.
Thank you, Olga. It really is my pleasure. When I see somebody like you get to go out and purchase a property or get to become an entrepreneur and believe in yourself in a way that you maybe didn't before, or you get to experience yourself, right? And a different side of yourself or the growth of yourself or the becoming of yourself.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much, Leti, for being on the A Coffee Playdate podcast with us today. It was a pleasure having you on, and I hope to have you in a future episode. Thank you. Cheers. Thanks for tuning in to the Coffee Playdate podcast. This episode is designed to help you stay driven, aligned, build momentum, and take action on your entrepreneurial journey. That's my Dhamma method in motion. If you enjoyed this conversation, hit subscribe and share it with one other person who you think would benefit from it. And when you're ready to live life on your own terms, book a discovery call at coacholgamd.com to see if one-on-one coaching with my Dhamma method is your next move.